Kia ora koutou, my name's Nathan Wallace, and the purpose of this clip is to help teenagers understand the changes that are taking place in their brain during adolescence. Now, I want to make this as simple as possible and as quick as possible. So, basically, all you need to understand is that you've got four brains inside your head, starting from the bottom, because the brain grows from the bottom to the top. It's just a universal principle of brains. Down the bottom, brain number 1 is survival, and brain number 2 is movement. Now, we're not going to focus much on them today because to understand adolescence, you need to really focus on brains 3 and brain 4. Brain 3 is your emotional brain, where all your emotions come from. It's quite straightforward. Brain number 4 is the complex one. That's sort of considered more the human brain, because brain number 4, as well as everything you do at school, like reading and writing and all of the higher intelligence stuff, importantly, brain number 4 controls your emotions, helps you to self-regulate. Now, the reason adolescence is often experienced as a difficult, turbulent time is because this brain number 4 that controls your emotions, basically adolescence is the fact that that brain is shut for renovations. Not all the time, but about 90% of the time. So the teenager's ability to control their emotions, see things from other people's point of view, reduces to about 10% of its capacity. Now, to make that even harder, at the same time, basically your emotional brain, brain number 3, has a turbocharger added to it. So huge emotions during adolescence, and the ability to control those emotions and regulate those emotions is really reduced. So adolescence has always been a difficult time. We see rates of anxiety, depression, all of those things really soar during adolescence, and it's not surprising when you understand what's happening in the brain. So every generation with that brain wiring, every generation of teenagers has had a tendency to catastrophize what's happening. So this generation, it's climate change. The previous generations might have been Y2K. Before that, it was the Cold War and the threat that a nuclear bomb was going to go off at any time. Now, it's not to minimise the risk of any of those things. It's just to say with the brain circuitry of a teenager, that can seem overwhelming and seem like it's a catastrophe just waiting to happen. So that's why we need support and around us as teenagers so that someone else can be the frontal cortex for us. That's not really supposed to solve your problems. It just gives you an understanding of what's happening during adolescence and why it might seem overwhelming. But just like we survived everything else, we're very likely to survive this. So if you want to know more information, we'll do another post about how your brain works, your survival brain in relation to your frontal cortex, and that might also help. But that gives you a basic understanding of why adolescence is such an emotional time and why it can seem so overwhelming.